Right, so welcome to this space. It's been a while since we've been on a space before, and at least today we are back here for another space. This time around, we want to talk about that's going to. We want to talk about how tribalism is. So I'd like you to speak to this issue. What are your thoughts? How do you think we can counter that? Because he has introduced even tribalism to the church. I think you saw some of his lieutenants saying that he's being targeted by the Catholic Church. He's being targeted by the Catholic Church for not being from that tribe. And you've seen what ACK Bishop spoke today, which has all the hallmarks of tribalism in it. Which begs the question, how then do we escape this tribalism, tribalism trap? Because if you watch very keenly, you realize that ever since his space was threatened by the Gen Z, everything he has done to undermine the Gen Z and to undermine the movement or anything that the movement can achieve, he has done it with a tribal intention. For example, bringing Raila on board was all about bringing a certain tribe to government so that, once you bring the people from Nyanza, they feel like they are home, then you're able to now control government. So now that begs the question, how do we defeat tribalism? How do we remain tribeless? How do we make sure that tribalism is not the reason Ruto will continue to stay in power? Because it looks to me that he is actually pushing Mount Kenya towards that direction. If you look at what has been happening, I did a 10-point plan today, which Ruto has been following as a script. You realize that there's been an intention to isolate the mountain, or rather the Kikuyus, and make it a 41 versus 1 kind of thing. And they've actually, sadly, they've fallen for it, because now they are in this position where they've been pushed into, being tribal. Not all of them, but now the underbelly, or rather the bulk of the people in Mount Kenya, are being pushed towards showing their tribal card or showing their support for their tribal kingpin, which essentially then draws the rest of the nation away from them. So we stop becoming Kenyans united against Ruto, but it becomes Kikuyus fighting Ruto. And Kikuyus fighting Ruto cannot win. I'm here to assure you that any scenario that is based on tribalism cannot win. It doesn't matter how many numbers they have. As long as it's about tribalism, they cannot win. So, how then do we do civic education to the mountain for them to understand that this is not about Kikuyus versus William Ruto? This is about Kenyans versus William Ruto, that their problems are our problems, that we go through the same thing, we are living in the same country. I was very sad when I saw them celebrating Uhuru and Gashagwa. These are the same people that have put them in the problem that they are in. Hii shida ambayo iko sahi, it's been caused by those two people. So which begs the question, are we willing to support, say, Gashagwa as a way of replacing Ruto? You know, the politics of emotion, where we vote for Uhuru so that asifungwe ICC, and then we come vote for Ruto to punish Uhuru, then Gashagwa to punish Ruto. I mean, we will be doing a vicious circle of poverty fueled by tribalism. How do we emancipate ourselves from this circle? Because that's what Ruto is pushing us into. He knows that as long as he's able to make this thing tribal, then it stops being about issues. It stops being about corruption. It stops being about accountability, but it becomes about, a tribe. So that kama mtu ameiba na ni wa kabila yenu, hiyo ni sawa. Lakini kama ameiba na ni wa kabila nyingine, sio sawa. So now, what we should be discussing today is how do we overcome this trap that we are being pushed into? Tutajiondoa aje kutoka kwa huo mtego ambao tunaingizwa wa ukabila? That is what we need to talk about. And we need to ask ourselves, what happened to us being tribeless? We were tribeless all along. We came up tribeless. We fought this tribeless. Is there something like Mount Kenya Gen Z, for example? Kuna kitu kama Mount Kenya Gen Z that, I'm telling the Gen Z in Mount Kenya to take votes. Is there something like that? Are we able to stick together and fight this to the end? Are we able to do civic education and, tell the people of the mountain that even though Gachagua was removed, and much as they sympathize with the Gachagua being removed, there is no loss they've suffered. This is a person who's making his own money, doing his own deals. There was no benefit or loss that they suffered because he was bringing no benefit at all to the people of the mountain, and therefore his loss is not a loss to the people of the mountain. They should not see it that this is a person from their tribe that has been removed. And even though they are in pain, they cannot remove the current government by retreating to being, people of the mountain versus Ruto, because then Ruto will be able to consolidate the rest of the people against the mountain. And it becomes the same tribal joke that we usually do. Now, one of the things that has made people stop voting in Kenya is when people go to the ballot and they have to choose between devil one or devil two, or they have to choose between Joker A and Joker B. How do we get people to have options? Is there a shortage of leaders in our society, of integrity who can rise and be, and take leadership in our communities? What can we do to help those leaders in our communities who we see as leaders of integrity? How can we bring them out as a replacement to the corrupt people so that we don't have to keep celebrating the corrupt people, but we start seeing, other leaders who can also take that place? So this is what we need to discuss. And the subject about tribalism is a very emotional subject. But it is a conversation that we must start having. We must start asking ourselves, how much is this thing of the mountain hurting the movement towards change? How is it bringing division? And what can we do about it? And why does Ruto want it that way? So that, you have the mountain And anyway, when you complain about Gachagua being removed, what are you telling the rest of the 40 tribes who have never gotten an opportunity to be deputy president? What you're telling them is that this seat is so valuable that if you lose it, you're supposed to complain. So the rest of the 40 tribes now start seeing it as valuable, when actually sense it is valueless. It is valueless because it has not added any value to the people of Mount Kenya. It has not brought roads. It has not brought hospitals. There's nothing it has brought. And therefore, it gives a false picture that it is a coveted thing, that it is a precious thing, when it's not. What is precious is good governance. You are to get a deputy president or a president who is a person of integrity, that is accountable, then that will be something to covet about. As Kenyans, we need to start ourselves asking ourselves the question, are we ready for change? Do we know what it takes to have that change? Are we mentally prepared for that change? Are we even ready to go to the streets, or we just tweet, occupy, occupy from the comfort of our homes, but never turn up? Only 10 or 15 or 20 people turn up and they are, hit with tear gas. Do we know that our power is in numbers? What is it we can do to get ourselves out of this trap? And how can we help in doing every Kenyan doing an effort, because this cannot be Morara alone or Okia alone or Mother Karua alone or Boni Mwangi alone. This is something that every Kenyan needs to take an initiative and do the little that they can do to change the Kenya that they want. So are we ready for that change? And even if, let's say, for example, people of the mountain want a leader from the mountain to occupy the presidency, are they ready to look above the corrupt leaders in their region and instead identify leaders of integrity from within their region and say, here is our son, a person who is educated, who has a vision, who has a mission, and who is willing to be. Are they willing to, give a chance to leaders of integrity and not cheer and clap for mediocrity or for thieves like Uhuru and Gachagua? People messed up our country, stole our resources, more so Uhuru. He made a mess of our economy. Our businesses died, agriculture died, everything. Even the mess Ruto is now, they started it with Uhuru. It didn't start with Ruto. Things have been bad enough since that time. Are we forgetting that what Uhuru did to our country? And if there are people, say, in the mountain who have forgiven Uhuru for what he stole, if you've already forgiven him, this money that was stolen was not the money of the people of Mount Kenya alone. It was the money of all Kenyans. What should the rest of us Kenyans who are still in pain, who are still lacking opportunities from the money that was looted under Uhuru, what should we say? Should we also forgive him? Yet, it's not tribal for us. So how do we kick out this tribal animal from within our communities so that it stops undermining the movement towards accountability and towards change? That is what I'd like us to talk about today. Of course, I'm looking for a co-host. I've not found one, but I'm going to find one shortly. So I'm going to accept some requests. When you come up, please speak briefly, but speak very respectfully. Do not condescend anyone. Do not abuse anyone, but speak factually. Even if the facts are painful, just inject. But as long as it's factual, no problem. We have no issue at all. So we begin. This is Fabish. Let me start accepting requests. All right. So welcome to the speakers panel. Please mute your mic when you get to the speakers panel. Um, Meanwhile, as I look for a co-host, let us see who can start. Fabish, you're ready. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Morara, for giving us this opportunity. And first, I want to salute you. And the trajectory that you are taking now, I can see now that you are now really energized, and you are now inspiring a lot of hope. I was one of the few people ambao kidogo nilikuwa lose hope na wewe, but I always believe in unity. But of late nimekuwa nikiona kwamba now hata wewe pia sasa umeona kwamba we have to come out very strongly, and that is the only way. This issue of tribal game plan, it is something that these politicians, they have learned to use it for very long time, and it has been working for them. Hii mambo ya mlima, mambo ya Central, it is actually the making of William Ruto. And that is why you see, by removing this one and replacing with this one, so that people, they can be divided, and so that that narrative can be there kwamba hawa nasema umeutuondolea mtu wetu, umetufanya nini. And I've been speaking hata katika space ingine ambao nilikuwa pale nikasema, lazima wa Kenya tuanze kujifundisha kwamba kila ambao tunasikia tunaambiwa tusikue wepesi tu wa kukubali hiyo. Let's go beyond that. Let's think deeper, because these people, they play like a script, they do like a theater. Then they will come with that plot, and now we always fall into that plot. What we need to do is, Morara, kwanza, one thing that I've been saying is what this country needs to change is through revolution. Nothing else. Nothing more, nothing less, Morara. Hii kitu ya kusema kwamba tutangojea 2027, these people, they have already realigned themselves. They are the same people. They already know how to manipulate this system, and this system is not easy to remove. The only way to remove is by going to revolution. Then we start from the scratch. We go to the foundation of this country. Tuende tena katika the foundation stone. Alafu sasa tuanze structures upya. Tuongee kuhusu mambo ya concessions zile ambazo tulifanya with the colonial masters, and any other agreements ambao tumekuwa tukifanya. We start afresh. It is difficult thing to do, Morara. I know it is an uncomfortable thing for many Kenyans, but that is the only way. That is the only way out that we need to do. In as much as tunasema mambo ya tribalism, mambo ya nini, tutaongea, tuzungumze, but time itatupata tukiwa pale, and tutajipata in the same trap. Morara, we have to brace ourselves. It is only through revolution. We have to be radical. We have to go very hard through revolution. Then now we can, that voice that we used to talk, drain the swamp, that was the voice of God, and we should not ignore it. We should continue with the same spirit of draining the swamp. So what we need now to be talking, Morara, you have done a very good job katika civic education and whatever you are highlighting. But I think now, this is the time to come now and say, okay, let us now evaluate, monitor. Umezunguka, umefanya hii, sasa tuangalie sasa, what do we need to do? Now we need to work on the solutions. Kama ni revolution, we need now to strategize, tupange. Yes, hii revolution inawezekana vizuri sana. What we just need is to know kwamba, okay, revolution tunaondoa, and this is the alternative that we are going to provide. What we should be talking now is alternative. We need to have a whole system of alternative. Then tukisha kwa hivyo, revolution, it will not even take us 1 week if we all speak in one voice. Let's not again be divided. Government, they have sent their agencies, they have infiltrated this movement, they have infiltrated the spaces, they have infiltrated even on the ground. People that they camouflage, look like they are part of the movement, and yet they are there to drive Ruto's agenda. We should be very conscious, and we should stick to our direction. So Morara, revolution in momentum. Tusikae tukasema, oh, the streets are not right now. We cannot just go one day and tunasema kwamba tuna succeed, but it's about building momentum. We need at least to have a unified voice. Tukisema kwamba tunaenda streets, tunajaribu, tukipata leo watu 100,000, tuna strategize. Maybe in the next 2 weeks, tunarudi tena, tunapata tuko 500. Every revolution that is happening is about building the momentum. But I'm telling you, the streets are ripe. Jana uliona what happened in Embu. It was inside the church. People wanaonyesha Ruto kwamba it is enough. We are not ready for the lies. We are not ready for these stories ajaba. We need to benchmark from our to Embu. This was a good indication to tell you kwamba the streets are ripe. So Morara, think on that line, and mtu asikudanganye kwamba ati sijui tuchukua ID sijui 2027. No, forget that one. It will never happen. Tukijidanganya 2027 itakuwa tunarudi pale pale tulikweko. We need revolution, and we need it very soon. Just only need to realign with the voices. Listen to the voices, Morara, and consolidate. Don't listen to people that they want to bring a division. Anyone that is against this government, we need to bring them on board. That's why sometimes hata mimi mwenyewe nakuwa na differences kidogo na wewe, lakini naona kwamba umerudi katika zile voices tulikuwa tunasema, nasema yes, this is what we want. So now you have a chance, you have a platform. Reason with us together. Reason to those people ambao tunasema anywhere ambao utakuwa unaenda wrong. Be ready when we criticize you and we tell you, bro, this one, kuja kwanza tuzungumze. Let us agree so that we can go in one voice. Be open for criticism. Be open to take, sometimes I know you have your own plans, but this is a movement. It is a collective voices. When we have that collective voices and we make sure that we bring everybody on board, I tell you, revolution is very much possible and it can happen even in a span of 1 month. Lakini tukiendelea na hizi gimmicks, kesho sasa inakuwa ni mountain. Saizi kesho Raila akikosa kule AU itarudi tena kwa Nyanza. Sasa nao wameanza kujipanga because Raila anataka kwenda hivi, tunarudi pale pale. So kitu ambao revolution movement haina tribal. Let's remain in that tribeless. That is the only way forward.
Are we there?
Thank you.
Morara.
Right. Thank you so much.
Morara.
Thank you so much, Fabish. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. So thank you so much for that. I just have something to comment about that. There is one thing that we are all forgetting. Now, you see, there is something I mentioned at the end of the video that I posted, and this is what I said. I said that the removal of the president is also a solution to the problem, because before you fix the citizens, until you fix the citizens, you've not fixed the leadership problem in Kenya. Otherwise, you would remove Ruto. Then you would have somebody like Waititu become president. You would have the worst of the worst become president because the electorate has not changed. You've only changed the president. So what do we also do about that? The fact that the electorate itself is not sufficiently educated in terms of civic education in readiness for a revolution. Because if you look at other countries where there have been revolutions, you realize that you can actually remove a president and put a worse one in power just because of the population not being emancipated or properly civically educated. So what do we do about that? That's a very important thing that we need to think about.
Yes, you ask a very critical question. First is, when we talk of revolution, revolution is people's power. And if people can revolt, those are people that they already know what they want. And when we talk of civic education, when we start coming to the streets, there are people that, yes, they have the knowledge that this regime is not working, we have poor leadership, but now they will ask you, what can we do? Hakuna kitu tunaweza kuwafanya. Wacha tu waendelee vile watafanya. Mungu ako na sisi. So those voices about they are hopeless. But when we say no, this revolution, this regime tunaweza kuondoa sababu we have the power. About kuwa ati tukiondoa, when we say we are draining the swamp, of course katika revolution tutakuwa sisi wenyewe, si kitu ambao ni rocket science, kwamba tutakuwa na council na tuseme kwamba we can scrutinize these people. And of course itakuwa sasa we have everything new system, ambapo ni kama tunaanza inch fresh. Tunasema kwamba these people we are scrutinizing, sio tu kwamba tunaletewa wanawekwa katika system ambao hiyo system imekuwa reset na different powers, ambao kama hii system za kuscrutinize our leaders ingekuwa inafanya kazi, we could not be having William Ruto. So that is to tell you that those systems are not working. Tuko na Kithure Kindiki ambaye hata amepitishwa shortcut. Now tukieri tuwaondoe, tutengeneze kama ni national council ya watu kama ni 100, then sasa tuseme kwamba we can even have a transition for like 5 years or even 3 years as we are now restructuring our country and restructuring the old systems. But ikiwa tutakaa tukisema kwamba hata tukiondoa, those are narrative ambayo inapushiwa na NIS na this government propagandist, wanting to make us be hopeless, kwamba sasa mkimwondoa Ruto, after mwondoa Ruto what do you mean what? Ruto leo Mungu akiamua kumuita haimaanishi kwamba nchi itakufa. Nchi lazima iendelee, and of course nasema hivi sababu yeye pia ni binadamu. Mungu anaweza muita kila wakati. Magufuli aliitwa na Mungu na Tanzania ikaendelea. So hatuwezi kukaa na kusema kwamba ati sababu sasa wacha Ruto kuwa hapo because hatujui tunaweza kumweka nani. Sisi kama tumeamua kwamba hao watu viongozi wafanyi vizuri, I'm sure kwamba tukimwondoa we already know the kind of leader, the kind of person that we want. We have 55 million Kenyans. You cannot tell me that out of 55 millions we don't have good leaders with integrity, people who are accountable, people who are transparent, people who are human, people who have sympathy, people who respect life. We have a lot. These goons are very few. This greedy, selfish, they are very few.
All right.
Kenya,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Fabish. I have to let you go at that point. Dr. George Wanjobi, I don't know whether you're ready to take it away. Dr. George Wanjobi. All right. I can't hear Dr. George Wanjobi. I don't know whether the rest of you can hear him. Give me 100 if you can hear him so that I look for another device.
No, he's not speaking. Do you hear me?
All right, Dr. George, we can't hear you. I don't know. Let's let him fix his internet first. Next, just speak up.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, Dr. George, we can hear you now.
Okay. Hey, very well. Good evening.
Good evening to you. How are you? Sorry, I seem to have lost him again. Dr. Darwin, are you here?
Yes, I'm here, Morara. You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Please proceed.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And first, I want to appreciate your effort for the civic education and making what looks hidden to come to the glare of light. It's very important to put in context when you talk about corruption. Then it's very important to put in context on what really is ailing us, and the trips you've been making around. I saw what you did in Kwale. Very, very important. We can now put to perspective. I'm a health worker. I'm a doctor and orthopedic surgeon working in a hospital in Rift Valley, MTRH, and I would also want to just add a piece of healthcare deliverables in this conversation, because it's a framework that has really been collapsed in the past over 8 weeks. So there was an introduction of SHIF and SHA, which came to replace NHIF. And it has been the most traumatic and sorrowful time for the patients I've ever seen. In fact, we began by unannounced deaths. People would come to hospital, and it will be like NHIF is now in transition. You have to pay money. And
Listeners, are we there? I've been having
Yes, we can hear him. No, we can.
Yeah.
It's Dr.
Morara?
Darwin is speaking. You can wait. You can wait, Dr. George. Dr. Darwin is speaking.
Yeah.
Good
Thank you.
listeners.
Thank you very much.
Brian Soro? Morara?
So I've muted Dr. George's mic. Just proceed.
Okay, thank you very much. So we've had a really trial time. We had to suspend theatre lists, and you see what makes this thing even worse. We cannot have politicians campaigning for SHIF as if it's a political party. We are not having healthcare workers giving it a thumbs up. The people who are supposed to glorify the new health system are not talking about it. We only see it in podiums of politicians, and it means that there is everything wrong about it. It is gaining a taste of the BBI, and it's gaining a taste of the Huduma number, forcing a healthcare system that is first very oppressive. They say that this healthcare system is for Kenyans, for indigents, but let me tell you, if we have lost indigents already because of this healthcare system, then it means it is already from the time the word go. The processes that people are undertaking in order to receive it, the terms of receiving, let alone look at the transition. The private hospitals, they are being owed billions of money by NHIF. The transition is happening. We are at a verge of right now. We are at a verge of really losing it. So we've had a serious trouble in the healthcare spaces when it comes to delivering healthcare system to our people. And allow me to say this as I even wind up. The politics of tribalism that this country has dwelt on, and the politics of marketplace, that means whichever politician is there for sale, they are easily buyable. It has denied us the right to get the good people who can oppose this thing from the podium. Now we are having people clapping for a healthcare system that is superseding, is giving an oversight of death. If you have a relative, if you have a mother, father who's at home, we know our old populations are suffering from these diseases of hypertension, diabetes. Some of them are arthritis. They have arthritis. We are seeing a lot of people getting into kidney disease, and we are having people also coming to hospital to get chemo and radiotherapy. If these systems are disturbed, then there is nothing more other than to just just collapse this system. So we have to first. I want to join in the other voices that we have to resist this government. We like Moi University. Just take a case example of Moi University. The same Mandago who came and told Airo to go away in a tribal tone is the same guy who has been called back to chair ati ameundwa yeye sasa ndo mwenye kiti wa chama yenye inafaa isaidie university iende mbele. So how can you bring the poison that destroyed the entire institution, and then you're saying this poison is now the one which will render medication to the institution itself? So there are kinds of jokes in this country that we cannot really stand and watch. So we are backing any mass action, any industrial action. In fact, we're encouraging unions to strike forever. Hii ikifunga strike, hii inafungua strike. Hii ikifunga strike, hii inafungua strike. Let us strike until we have this guy out of the office, because we cannot live in a country where even basic healthcare provision is very difficult to achieve, which was being achieved 2 months ago. Right now, it's very, very difficult. They have politicized healthcare system. Today, the president was saying ati tunataka ati wananchi ndio watarun healthcare huko kwa villages, nyinyi ndio who said that? How can a mwananchi who does not know about health service management run a hospital? So why are you taking professionals' work and just because you're not, either you are misinformed or you're not receiving right advice, you're in a podium in a church unasema ati wananchi mtachukua nyinyi ndio mtaorganize venye afya itapeanwa, yet the intern doctors are not being paid. Nurses in many counties are on strike. What is this man saying? You see, we are just in a terrible state. Thank you very much.
Allow me to interrupt you. So, Dr. Darwin, unfortunately, you've left without addressing the topic of the day, which is tribalism and how it is undermining the movement towards change and towards accountability, and what we can do about it. So we actually just wanted your voice also, what you can be done
Thank you.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much for that, Morara. Now, tribalism has eaten to the core of even healthcare. I'll tell you, they are the biggest playing field of nepotism is in healthcare. We have seen people employing people of their tribes, and there is where the sickness is. There is where the big story lies. We are not receiving people based on competence and expertise. We are receiving workers based on who do technical know-hows. We are receiving workers on political affiliation. Healthcare has become part of a political reward system. Look at what is happening from the top. Just allow me to mention. Look at even the council itself, the KMPDC. The people who are appointed in KMPDC, it's a political reward system. The president feels like huyu alisimama kiti fulani akaanguka, kwa hivyo wewe kuja ukae hapa kwa hii chama, kwa hii council ya kuregulate healthcare. Haya, CEO wa KNH ni huyu fulani, wacha huyo akue. CEO wa hospitali gani ni fulani. Now, when this healthcare system, which are supposed to be run independently, there are three areas which are supposed to be so much away from politics. That is the security sector, the education sector, and the health sector. Now, tribalism, my brother Morara, has killed us in healthcare sector. What we are seeing right now, even in healthcare, is because of technical know-how and reward system. When Nahumicha, who came and performed pathetically, who was brought in by the speaker, was removed after the Gen Z movement, they brought another one who's just as loose as Nahumicha. Now, how will we better healthcare service when we are receiving incompetence, inheriting incompetence? So tribalism, and you can really see when you watch news and you're seeing the healthcare people speaking, all those are just cronies of State House. They are cronies of the government. And we need to get out of that. Why can't we receive people leading healthcare system out of meritocracy and out of capacity? They have built their capacity to lead a nation. We have people in this country who can make a better healthcare system, but because of tribalism and because of nepotism, now we have sunk so low mpaka tunaanza kuchukuliwa mtu mwenye hata hajawahi register for 10 years. He has been serving as a doctor without registration. The day they are appointed is the day they run to register with the council. So it's just incompetence because it's a reward system to the politicians. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. George Wanjobi. Let me, just before you take it away, let me remind our listeners from wherever they are that today we are discussing about tribalism and how tribalism has affected our movement for change, and how Ruto is actually using it as a weapon we are discussing how to overcome that hurdle of tribalism. And we've made an example of how he undermined the Gen Z by bringing tribal kingpins into the cabinet, and how he is isolating the Mount Kenya region into a fight between 41 versus them by provoking them to retreat to their tribe, and also, start thinking more about themselves rather than standing together as Kenyans, and how he's actually using it as a tool, and how he's actually dividing up that mountain to Mount Kenya East and Mount Kenya West, and how actually the rest of the nation, beginning with Machakos, Wavinyandeti, Western Sirisia, how Kenyans celebrate corrupt people and even give them positions, governor, women rep, MP. How do we overcome these hurdles? How do we remain tribeless? Because if the elections in Kenya or the revolution is tribalized, so that now the Gen Z revolution looks like an uprising of Kikuyus against Ruto, then we lose it, because it doesn't become a movement for Kenyans anymore. And it actually makes other people who are from other tribes feel the need to come and defend this president who has done so much evil. So how do we overcome that? Because we are being put into that trap where if there is an uprising, it now looks like it's a Kikuyu thing versus William Ruto, rather than a Kenyans demanding for accountability. How do we escape that trap? How do we do better regarding that particular issue, so that we are not entrapped in a sense where even the people from Rift Valley who had already started seeing the evils of this leadership and seeing the failures of this leadership, they don't begin sympathizing with William Ruto and saying kijana yetu anapigwa. How do we get over this, tribal nonsense, and just build a better nation for everyone regardless of their tribe? How do we overcome it, yet we are being pushed there? So that is what we are talking about today. Dr. George Wanjobi, are you ready? All right, Brian.
Yeah, hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Please proceed.
Yeah. So, thank you, Morara, for holding this space. Okay, I'll use a bit of history to give some insights. I think might help as we are discussing Kenya and its tribal politics. First of all, okay, I don't know how controversial this is going to sound, but let me just say it. I don't think there's any country in the world that is not organized tribally. And by tribally, unfortunately, most of us in Kenya, we think tribe, we imagine it's the ethnic extraction, the language that we use. But in African countries, that's what is prevalent. But in other countries, for instance, I can pick the US, Scandinavian countries, and some of these countries that we consider to have developed, they also have tribal politics. The difference is that their tribe association is based on ideas, where you find some people, they will tell you that they're conservatives. Like, for instance, the Republican Party. They're conservatives, and then now you have, the Democrats, who are more on the left, and they are a bit liberal. So those are their tribes. Yes. So at the same time, is it possible to get rid of tribalism? Yes, I'm saying yes, there's a chance there. What, Morara, I think you're doing with civic education and etc., you're trying to explain to people how their leaders, you could be speaking the same language, but you are not catching the same hell as, you're the only one who's catching hell, but your tribal lord is not catching any hell. Yes, there's a chance there. But I feel like at the moment, we are dealing with, there's an individual here by the name of William Samoei Ruto beating this guy. So I can see there are different ways, and people are trying to come up with, different strategies and etc. From where I sit, I feel like if we look at building institutions.
Hello, guys.
I'm not a big fan
I don't intend to interrupt anything, but I think we might have lost our speakers. I don't know if any one of you is hearing anything from your ends.
Yes, I can hear. Morara.
Yes, I'm still here. Just proceed.
Yeah, so I'm not so sure why.
Okay. Thank you so much, Morara, for giving me this opportunity. And I'm very happy that we are in this together and we are having this conversation. First of all, they say that most of the time in this Kenyan country, like the average voter is always a very naive person. And in most cases, you'll get these naive people are our parents, are our guardians, are people that we who have the knowledge on the kind of card this person is playing. We are able to talk to them and let them know this is what is happening. You see, I'm also shocked that people can just forget that, for example, DP Rigathi Gachagua was with Ruto, and he actually was really happy at the time when the finance bill was brought to us. He never said a thing, but now I'm shocked that people from the mountain are very happy and cheering him on. And I've forgotten that this is the same person who was in this regime. But now how do we go around this whole issue? I mean, if you have parents, Morara is really trying to educate people through civic education, but it can start as small as us who have parents that we can educate, even in the small capacity you have, even with the people that you meet around the kijijis, those friends of yours you meet around the shop. Just have an engagement with them and let them know this is what we have and this is what is on the table. This is what the president is doing. This person who is also talking is not like the person is gonna save us because he's part of the rotten regime. If we take the personal responsibility to make sure that we educate those people who are around us, I am very sure that we would get to so many of them and give them our pieces of mind, kwa sababu tukiendelea tu kunyamaza, tukiendelea tu kungoja, and I don't know, na feel vibaya sana kuona the president anakani kama mtu mwenye anaogopwa sana. Yani these people, yani sijui mbona watu wanamrivia hivyo, ni kama we cannot do anything about it, and it is hurting to see most of our young people wenye waliuliwa juu we decided to stand up for our own rights, and I'm very happy that we have this kind of president at this time, because now at least watu wenye walikuwa wajafunguka macho na kujua yenyewe we don't need ku-elect our tribal person wamefunguka macho. It has shown us that we have rot in our Kenyan politics. Look at Baba mwenye we thought ati huyu ndio mtu anaweza tusaidia. It's been eaten by the system. Now we are aware, now we have seen. Tumeona this is what can happen. At least with this government, it has exposed so many things. It has made us start a conversation around Kenyan politics, bad governance. It has made us understand that we as the people can have so much power. Because I am very sure it is around this time that hata hizi the Twitter spaces we've been able to have zimekuwa gain more power, because now people have realized this is like, now we need to be talking about these issues. And then I know, you see, even the president is doing a lot of looting kwa sababu anajua this is how he's going to buy people out, because always say all these people are just supporting him evil, and they are seeing kwa grao people are suffering. Shift is not working. Everything is in pieces, and the act of a leader just putting things together and patching up pieces because of money, at some point to kitamramba, and we'll be here to witness it. So the last thing I would just say is, Morara, we really hope that you won't be consumed by the system. Tumeona some of the people we were really championing for, na watu wenye wamekuwa wakitufanya tunafeel enyewe this movement is gaining power and it's headed in the right direction, and we believed in them. As young people, we look up to so many of you who are talking these things out. So that is my last piece to you, Morara. Kindly don't be consumed by the system. Because now the system ikishaanza inachukua huyu ina consume, then we won't be having somebody to give us the momentum as young people to in one direction. Yeah, that is what I have to say.
Thank you so much, Bahati. Would you be willing to co-host?
I am about to rush somewhere now.
It's okay. So anybody who feels like they can co-host, please inbox me. Yeah, Dr. George, are you ready now? Right, Dr. George is not ready. Zipporah?
Thank you so much for the chance. Morara, I want to thank you, and also I want to urge you and also beg you, just if we want to do away with this kind of politics, we need to have leaders. So for example, me one nakwanga na tashwish because we have some leaders, the young leaders who have been trusted so much, and at the end of the day wamechukuliwa, wamekuwa watu wa system. So we feel like we are losing hope. Lakini so mi kupigana na hii mambo na hii to clean the system, if we want us to believe that Kenya has what we call enough resources, just for us we have to find a very young strong leaders who can lead Kenyans to overcome all of this that we are going through. So ningekuambia Mr. Morara, tafadhali ujitolee, tuwe na viongozi. We should be led by the movement, or the revolution should be led by the leaders who are strong, who can give us what we call a direction. So for example, tumesema we want to occupy everywhere. We should have a voice that we lead these people. So mi ningesema kwamba tuwe na kiongozi, hata kama tumeshinda tukisema ati they will be put by the system, we must have our leader, and also we trust these leaders kwamba watatupeleka mbele heading 2027. Morara, I want to tell you that we have Kenyans, a large number of Kenyans who trust in you. Please don't betray these people. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much. I just want to assure everybody that is listening today that I will never betray you. Mengi yamesemwa kunihusu, some said I'm a project, but mimi nikawaambia kitu moja. There is nothing I can do to prove to you guys that I am real. But I am going to be consistent until you see that I am real. So I'm going to be very consistent na sitanunuliwa. That is a guarantee I'm giving all of you. So msiogope na don't, the offers have come. See ati sijapata hizo, they come. But I'm very dedicated towards what we are doing. So let's discuss this issue. So Dr. Darwin, you're here to co-host. Are you loud and clear?
Yes. I can hear you loud and clear. I don't know from your end.
Perfect. So I'll accept some requests for you, then you will give the spaces to people to speak. Na iendelee hivyo hivyo.
Thank you.
Yes, you can finish, Brian. I'm sorry that I dropped you before you finished. Don't take it personally. You can proceed. Brian, allow me to interrupt you. Allow me to interrupt you and ask this. Are you also recognizing that institutions are built by people, that sometimes the strength of an institution is also determined by the strength of the individuals that lead that institution. I'll give you a few examples. I would never have known that there's the Kenya Film and Classification Board if it wasn't that Ezekiel Mutua was there. The Supreme Court, did really well under Maraga as the Chief Justice, and he brought a lot of confidence to that institution. Are you also, looking at it in the sense of the individuals that lead the institutions? Can we really ignore the power of individuals?
Thank you very much, Brian. That's very true. In our in our tribalness is where we are supposed to be united, because that is our variousness. But politicians, in fact, have come to divide us on those kwa hizo tu misingi, telling you that this tribe is better than this one, so developing themselves in names of kingpins, which we are totally against. Josephine.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Mr. Morara, for hosting this space. I'm Josephine from Mombasa, and I want to say good evening to everyone. And also from your timelines, I salute you. Good morning, good afternoon. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Morara, for hosting this space. However, before I speak, I want to also to bring to your attention that I am just from another space that I was hosting all the employees of this country. We were discussing about the issue of the Shivsha and the NHIF, and where do we feel we are as employees in this country. And for those of us who are working for the government, do we really have job security? And we have agreed that we will be holding another meeting on Wednesday from 7:30 to 9, so that we come up with a way forward, because it seems like Kotu has forgotten his mandate is to protect the employees of this country, and now is doing nothing. Once you do proper calculation of the taxes that have been imposed on the employees in this country, actually we are paying up to around 51%. So you are taking home only 49%. What does that mean to us? What does that mean to those who have loans? What does that mean to those who have children to take school? Because it's unrealistic that I am working for the government, or I am an employee of this country serving this nation. I am being deducted taxes, and at the same time, I am being taxed by the government to take care of the citizens of Kenya who are jobless. Yet I am given the taxes to the government so that it would take care of the people who are jobless. Now the burden has been put again back on the shoulders of those of us who are employed, and now we realize that we are really suffering, and nobody is there for us, because God was just gone silent. Actually, visit saying that he wants Ruto to change the constitution, and we can ask ourselves, what kind of people do we have in this nation, honestly? Because what kind of a person is that? A person who has been in the Kotu for over 24 years, because he joined in Kotu the year 2001 until today. He cannot stand for the employees in this country. Even when we are oppressed, he stands with the oppressor. Then do we really need a tool to remain there in that position? Those are the questions we need to ask ourselves. So I would really want to invite you so that you join me on Wednesday as we host all the employees in this country, so that we can deliberate on this and come up with a way forward. Because we do not have a choice, we have to put things right. Because if we are having people who don't care about us, I think you can see clearly and very categorical. It has been a club of this and this and this for this. Because if you see that people who have been appointed of late are people who have already been actually convicted of corruption in this country. And they are the same people President Ruto now has appointed into office. And instead telling us we should not go in tribal lines. Yet he is the kingpin of the tribe. He is the greatest tribalist in this country. And if you look at the counties, in the county levels right now, everybody is employing somebody, provided even not now, they have reduced from even the tribes to the clans. Reason being, somebody anataka mtu wake mwenye anaishi ako karibu na yeye, hata kama that person is unqualified. So we are calling upon all of us Because Morara, you've done a lot, even in that other space. People were speaking about what you just unveiled in Nikwale, whereby you went to the hospital, there is no an MRI, and the patients are there and are supposed to be attended. And we were asking ourselves, I am working in a level 6 or level 5 hospital, yet I fall sick while I'm on duty, and I cannot even acquire a Panadol in that hospital. I have to go to level 2 so that I get a Rivaro, so that I get treated in level 4 or level 5. What is really happening to us? Because we need to stand out and get to know that anybody who actually decides to do away with your health, then that's a person who just wants to bring you to zero and make sure that you remain a beggar for the rest of your life until you go to the grave. Right now, as we are talking, so many people are dying because the Shifsha is not working. It has just it's a scam. People are suffering. You cannot acquire medical services, yet you have been deducted. And somebody also has the audacity to tell you that if you don't feel comfortable with the NHIA, with the Shiv and Shah, you can go and get yourself a better insurance cover. Yet they have actually slaughtered your payslip. There's nothing left in the payslip. So we are calling upon everyone. Can we join hands together? Remember, if a nation doesn't have a good health system, we cannot develop as a country. We need to have doctors who are out there, whenever is waiting to go to the theater and give services to anybody, there should be in a rational thinking way and in a capacity to think well.
Thank you.
Yet, right now, we are trying to deliberate amongst ourselves and asking ourselves, how about if nikiumia hapa ama nikijidunga, what happens? Nobody has to take care for me. So we need to put things together. We need to come together. We are calling upon everyone. Let's join us together. Let's stand firm. I want to answer your question regarding what are we supposed to do so that we don't feel like the tribal issue is catching up with us, so that everybody will sympathize with the other. I think I joined a group yesterday for the Kenyans, and it was quite well, because I realized they also feel the same pain that every other Kenyan is feeling, and we are all together. So what we are saying is that, can we forget about, we only know that we have two classes of people, the poor people and the oppressed people and the oppressors. And the oppressor is Ruto and his government, and the members of parliament whom we elected, and they are not doing what we are supposed to be doing, what they are supposed to be doing for us. So, fellow Kenyans, can we stand out? Can we go out there and join our hands and do away with the Kotu? If he thinks he cannot take care of the employees of this country, let him pack and go, and we have other people who can speak on our behalf. We will be calling all the unions together so that they come and tell us what's the way forward, because we know there are so many civil servants who are subscribing to the civil service union, and that is happening.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I really appreciate. Can we stand together and join us together? Let's remember, on Wednesday from 7:30 to 9, we join the space so that we can deliberate on our own issues. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Thank you, Jocelyn. What I've really captured here is a president cannot talk against tribalism, yet he's spearing tribalism. His appointments are directing towards a direction. He's employing his cronies. He's doing political rewards. He does not employ on meritocracy, and that in itself is the rot in the system. To those ones who are just joining, we are talking about the tribal game plan, Ruto's tribal game plan, how it's affecting this nation, how we want to stand against it. What is our game plan against the tribalization? We've seen people being appointed in terms of tribal basis. We've seen opposition and government merging so that they can just equalize the Gen Z's effect, which was a very good start of revolution, and we don't want that spirit to ever cease or end. Dennis K, you can take it up. Dennis, can unmute. Okay. Luigi.
Thank you, Dr. Darwin, for this opportunity. First of all, speaking as a Gen Z, and I'm an undergraduate right now, but I'm so frustrated with whatever is going on in this country. From my own experience, I think I experienced tribalism firsthand. I went for an interview somewhere, and the first question I was asked was, "Who sent you?" For a moment, I thought, and then I walked out because I knew there was really nothing for me there. Okay, let me go to my major points. I think Kenyans right now are in a very, very desperate situation, and desperate situations require desperate measures also. Anybody who will stand against President Ruto come 2027 might easily get votes out of desperation, and this should not make Morara. Okay, let me say this: Morara should consolidate and start talking to these people who have been in the system for long. By these people, I mean people like Maraga, people who have a clean record and they are appealing to the masses and have really big influence right now. If he joins hands with those people, joins hands with people like Akina Senator Okiya Mtata and other few people who can be trusted, they can really pull something that most of us will not believe, because we just need leadership right now. We don't need anything else. Secondly, I wanted to talk about the issue of unemployment. Right now in this country, I don't know, man. I don't know who has the statistics, but I think all the people I know, all the people who graduated before me are all jobless in a career path that doesn't have so many people, a career path that is a bit prestigious. Talking about aviation, and all of them are jobless. Maybe a few got the opportunity to go work themselves up, but most of them are just jobless. I'm wondering where we're going, because as the Gen Zs, we are really terrified that most of our productive years will be used to fight for a liberation that we never even envisioned. We don't know how it happened. And most of the things that have happened in this country, or rather people who fucked us up, they are not here no more. We even never witnessed the post-election violence, like real time. We just came to hear of it, saw pictures of the things that happened, and we are not to blame. Right now, we have a situation that it's just one bullet for us to do it, and the only way we are going to do it is take votes, man. Vote this. Kick him out. Kick him out through another way is very difficult. So thank you. That has been my submission. Asante.
Asante sana, Luigi. Indeed, very true. If we do not act against the tribalism, which is now on the rise, then we will spend much of our years fighting for liberation. When we want to liberate ourselves, then we have to uproot it from the source. The source is in bad governance. The source is in nepotism. The source is in tribalism. We saw how our Gen Zs were on the streets only to reward political classes and to have a reshuffle of the cabinet to get people who have been interested, who have been salivating for some position. You can imagine the opposition was just waiting for a revolution so that it can step in and take advantage of that. So indeed, we do not need to have our career people who are studying much of their lives to be spent on fighting. We need to uproot and correct it from the political wing, because in Kenya it's all inclined in bad governance, and bad governance comes in through getting ourselves bad political leaders. So is Pingache, if you are ready, you can speak up. Pingache? Okay. Zipporah? Okay. Prince? Before we bring another set of speakers, Prince, if you are available and ready, you can shoot up and speak. Anyone who has a mic on and you can be able to speak.
I would like to make a final submission, if I can. Okay, those of you who think going the election route as I do, I think it's important that we realize that the Gen Zs, or that demographic between 18 years old and 24 years old, they were supposed to, the IBC was anticipating 8 million, Gen Zs got in court to register. However, I think it was less than 1 point, if I'm not wrong, 1.4, 1.5. Those are the only ones who registered. I see every time people are angry, and sometimes I feel like, yes, there are two routes here. There are people who want to go and overthrow, and there are people who want to go and elect. Me, I'm of election, and I'm not saying preventing the people who want to go and do a revolution, but those of us who think that election is the route, being angry is okay, it motivates. And I've seen Morara trying to explain how, the intention of Vampire Diaries. However, the IBC does not count how angry, or I don't think they have a measure of determining how angry you are. They can only, I think they only count votes. So if we can have a way of getting people register, and I understand right now the IBC is not functional. Probably we need to go to that direction, because apart from even the registration, some quick wins are going to make sense. For instance, I've seen in different constituencies, members have collected signatures to recall some of the MPs, which I think is also a good thing. So mine, I would say, if if you are on the election bandwagon, yes, encourage anyone who doesn't have a vote to go and register. And because IBC is not functional, that should be among the action items that we need to look at, such that if Kina Morara decide to start, we're able to vote for them. So that's what I wanted to submit.
Thank you, Brian. Felix.
Mkoaje wazee?
Tuko sawa kabisa.
So mimi ni Felix from Kisumu West. So the first thing yenye mimi nataka niseme ni Ruto is a very clever man, and there is a say that goes, to conquer a nation you must replace science with religion. So Ruto has managed to replace science with religion to an extent that he has successfully conquered Kenya. So kitu moja mimi nataka niambie wa Kenya ni, one, God does not elect these crooks. Tusidanganywe eti ni Mungu ndio uelect hao viongozi. Hapana. Sisi wenyewe tulisimama asubuhi tukaenda kupiga kura kwa hao viongozi, na ni sisi bado ndio tunaweza watoa kwa hizi viti. What I would like to tell my fellow Gen Zs, please tukue na courage. Siku yenye kina Morara watasimama waende tuende tuwapigie kura, tafadhali tuamkeni asubuhi na tuende tuwavotie. Another thing, let us stop profiling ourselves in terms of communities. Kama umesikia mtu wenu, as anybody from your tribe, anachunguzwa kuhusu mambo ya ufisadi, please wacha tu achunguzwe. Usianze mambo ya mtu yetu. Leo nilikuwa Twitter nikatazama post Morara Kebaso alipost kuhusu people cheering somebody who was wrong. Watu wakaanza tena kumwattack. Na ni ukweli, Uhuru alikuwa mbaya, Gachagua mwenyewe alikuwa mbaya. Sasa mbona tena watu waanze, what has metamorphosed within a night that Gachagua is now a good man? Tukue tu watu wazuri, tuelewane. What I want us to do, let us develop a central nervous system to feel each other's pain. Without that, hatuwezani na hii maneno. Asanteni.
Asante Felix. You see, we totally agree with you. And when Morara posted about Uhuru, we cannot furthermore engage in pity just because we are desperate. We have a bad leadership, so we want to consider the bad leaderships that happened before as now sanctified and good. No. Uhuru sent this country into heavy debts. He part of the troubles that we are paying for right now emanated from his presidency, and he was there with William Ruto, and they set a bad precedence which we are now heavily paying for, and we cannot sanctify Gachagua just because he left. No, he was not a saint either. None of these guys are saints. They came in through the same ticket. They operated in the same mantra. Falling out between Ruto and Gachagua does not sanctify Gachagua to be a good person right now. No, it's only that his punishment has come earlier, and Ruto's punishment will come sooner or later. It will also come. So we should just wait and let all these people face their music when their time comes, and we really pray that their time comes even sooner. And I agree with you. We don't entertain tribal chiefs. We do not entertain tribalness. We want the tribe that we have flowing in our blood is a tribe called Kenyans. We may be stemming from different origins, but we are united by the patriotism of a country called Kenya. And if a politician will arise themselves and divide us on the basis of ukabila, tutasema hapana, tutakataa. Buki, you can take the microphone. Buki, you can unmute. Chalby.
Yes, good evening, guys.
Good evening. Go on.
Okay.
Okay, Chalby, I'll talk after you.
All right.
Okay, after Chalby, you'll follow.
Okay. So I have a point about concerning this regime we're talking about. You see, when we went to the streets on 25th, that was on June. Tulikuwa tumesema tuko leaderless, tuko fearless na tribeless. So like from that time we are always tribeless mpaka sahi, like hatuna tribe, hakuna kubagua. No. So our viongozi wamekosa cha kusema. No. So what they are using in wamezoea ni kutumia tribes. But of course si tulisema we are tribeless na hakuna mtu tunabagua, tunasema huyu ni Mkamba, huyu ni Mkalenjin, huyu ni Mkikuyu, nini Mkisi hivyo. So tulisema sisi ni tribeless, you see. But unaona viongozi wamekosa cha kusema. Hapa kwa X tumetengeneza Kibet Bull ndo ametengeneza silhouettes za kunini gava, like kutuonyesha what, like ni kama like they're reading what is happening actually. So wakijaribu try to kusema something, community note ndio ina get back to them, ina verify kama ni ukweli ama ni uongo. You see, like gava wamekosa tu cha kusema. So wanatumia that word tribe, like wamekosa anything else. All they have to say is what they are used to, which is tribe. So my point is, sisi Gen Z tulisema we are tribeless, Gen Z na millennials, you see. But sasa our parents, like these are hizo ma generations zingine hazijui, like wamezoea. No, our parents. So those are the people that we are supposed to talk to them. Yeah, that's my submission.
Thank you very much, Shalby. Maybe let me ask, what would be your contribution towards the effects of tribalism in terms of before and right now? Would there be more aggression towards us wanting to go to the streets and fight? I know there are many demonstrations which are in plan. What is your contribution? Is it angering the Gen Zs enough that we are inclining towards a very tribal way? Maybe your contribution towards the same.
Okay. As I've said earlier, sisi Gen Z tulikuwa tumesema we are tribeless, you see. So nobody, hakuna mtu anasema mimi ni Mkikuyu. Sisi wote tuko hapa kwa space. Hakuna mtu anasema mimi ni Mkisi nini hivyo, si ndio? So like tukienda streets, like hiyo revolution inakam, hakuna mtu anasema I'm from this tribe and this tribe. Mission ni moja. Ruto must go. Like regime mzima. No. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Supposed to follow is Prince. You can unmute and give your comments.
Hello everyone, good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, Doctor, thank you for the opportunity, but niko kwa barabara bado niko like 10 minutes away nifike home, so unaweza pata the next speaker alafu nikifika niteke tafadhali.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll get back to you. Maxwell? Maxwell? Okay. Sawa. Kenyans?
Yes, Dr. Darwin, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Go on.
Okay, thank you so much. So, I wish to begin with saying that I believe we are dealing with this whole issue of tribalism and how we can solve the issue of going tribal in our fight to remove these people from power. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, go on. Kindly, if I give you speaker, drop put on mute. We can hear you. We can continue, Kenneth.
Okay, thank you, sir. I wish to state the following. First of all, let me begin by saying that we must accept the fact that as Kenyans, we have various tribes. So we cannot do away with this topic of tribes in Kenya. And our tribes forms our foundation. Our tribes are our origins. And automatically we just found ourselves in those tribes. No one chose to be a Kikuyu or a Luo or any other tribe. Just found ourselves in these tribes. And since independence, for quite a long time now, most of these politicians, they have known that indeed we all of us as Kenyans cherish our tribes. So they know that's a soft spot for most of us. And because politicians are good at whipping emotions, they like touching where our emotions are. And that is in our own tribes. Like for example, myself, I'm a Kikuyu. Literally, sincerely speaking, after this whole dramatic removal of office of one Rigathi Gachagua, the former DP, sincerely speaking, even if I may be learned, I may be civilized, I also find myself almost being biased towards sympathizing with Rigiji. It's quite unfortunate, but that's a fact. So to thus far, I think it would be better if we can try having something, a different strategy. We start thinking of development. We can focus our fight on development because development doesn't know any tribe. We have 47 counties in Kenya, and each county receives money each year for development and provision of services to citizens. If, for example, we can be proactive in the sense that, for example, right now we are in the financial year 2024-25, and just to inform you that counties have not received even a single penny of their monies for this current financial year. Reason being, we don't have a DORA, nor do we have a CARA. Yet, counties had formed their budgets and nothing is going on there. Everything has ground to a halt. And now we are here discussing tribal politics about our tribes. And because this is where our emotions are, basically. But what we need to do, we just need to have a change of strategy. We focus on development. We focus on service delivery. Let's hold our leaders to account in terms of service delivery. What service have they delivered to us so far? I really support Morara Kebaso's work and the Vampire Diaries he has been providing us in all the counties he has been to. But I feel, I beg to differ in, of course, opinion with him, slightly different, in that I feel what Morara is currently doing is what Auditor General does, literally. You're just going to the ground, exposing those stalled projects where money was stolen long ago. They are just mere skeletons, which don't have anything new, any money, tuna expose zile miradi ambazo pesa ilishaporwa kitambo. Yeah? Yet we can be proactive because we cannot literally, we just can't change the past. But the future, the current, the present, and the future, we have control over. So why don't we be proactive? For example, we begin with this current financial year, 2024-25. Because me, what I know, or what's a fact basically, is that most of these developed countries, talk of US, United Kingdom, France, Germany, all those countries, what is common with them is their citizens are super proactive. They are super sensitive and super knowledgeable. They hold their leaders to account directly in relation to service delivery and development. Yes, am I audible?
Yes. Yes. You can wind up. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, as I wind up. So what I'm trying to say in short, we need, if possible, this is just my humble suggestion, that we can have a change of strategy whereby we now, because now the leaders are good at focusing on tribes. When we focus on tribes every now and then, we can never move forward. But when we focus, for example, on development, we have a budget each and every financial year. We say, for example, this current budget, for example, my home county, Muranga, they had set out to build, say, for example, a bridge, a footbridge, or some few classrooms, ECD classrooms. Have they done so? Yes or no? We can follow up. There is a quarterly report released by the Controller of Budget, report on implementation of budget. We can be proactive using such kind of government documents. There's also the report of, I think, the monthly statement released by the National Treasury, the statement of actual revenues and net exchequer issues. That is what really speaks the truth about how government is spending our money. And with that, we can be focused on it, and we cannot be swayed by this whole issue of whipping emotions, talking tribal politics, or don't cheer Uhuru, don't cheer Rigiji. Uhuru, we know, yes, Uhuru is a thief. Uhuru stole a lot of money, even with his deputy Ruto, the former deputy. Even Rigiji is not a saint. That we know, but when we bring this whole issue down to politics, the politics of tribe, it is really becomes very easy to whip emotions, because we all belong to a particular tribe. So there's, and that's a fact, and we cannot change that. It all goes back to our origins anyway, and our ancestry. So if we focus on development, we can really avoid or do away with that whole issue of going back to tribes. I think my humble submission will
Just excuse me, Kenis, I'd like to ask you a question.
Yes.
I was just listening. I've been listening to many speakers. Yes. I've not commented, but on yours, I want to comment. Huh? When you say that, we should not focus on recovery of corrupt proceeds, then are we saying that you can still, as long as you are able to leave office safely, then you will not be asked to return whatever you've stolen? You can grab 10,000 acres of land. You can steal 100 billion from Ministry of Wealth. You can maybe steal 10 billion from the county. But as long as you are able to retire without, being caught, then it's okay. Since you come from a particular tribe, we will not follow you up because it will bring problems with your tribe. Is that what you are trying to say? And when you say that we should focus on development, how will we do this development with corruption? Shouldn't we stop corruption first before we continue with the development? In fact, if you ask me if I was made president of Kenya, the first 1 year or 2 years, I would not do any development. I would first begin with recovering whatever has been stolen over the years. So are you saying we should forgive everybody who has stolen and focus on the development without resources for development and the development which is based on corruption? What are you saying?
Kenyans ametoka, so we just lost Kenny's who had brought up issue that we need to pick a few of these to concentrate on about the problems facing us. It really needs a multi-pronged approach. People should be accountable for their deeds. Leaders should be brought to account. Kama mtu alikuwa kwa serikali akatumia kiti chake vibaya, akaibia wananchi pesa, hiyo inafaa irudishwe back to the citizens. And he spoke about we should not look at tribal politics. What's killing this country really is the tribal politics, is how the leaders are dividing us in on the grounds of tribal, differentiating Pokomo with a Luya, differentiating a Luo with a Kikuyu, making each of these tribes, which is our blessing, to appear as though it's our curse. I don't know. Freedom, that is Laban or Ritai. You can take over. Laban or Ritai.
Kindly just give the mic to someone else. I have some commitment I need to.
Okay, sawa Laban. Sam Simwa. Sam Simwa. Prince Baha. Moshemie, Jerry, you can speak up.
Hi,
Karibu Moshemie.
Asante. Morara, we thank you for hosting this forum. I'm a big supporter, I'm a big fan, but I want to take a completely different perspective on the issue of tribalism. Tribalism is actually, if we look at it critically, it's not the problem. The problem is sisi wenyewe. If you go to your ground, hospitali yako ya nyumbani, uko Kisii, Kirinyaga, wherever, who are the doctors and who are the nurses? Or even your primary schools, sisi wenyewe. Who sends you away when you don't have money for treatment? Or we don't have money for education? Ni sisi wenyewe. Tribalism inatumika kutugawanisha. It's a ploy to cover up the real stuff. The real stuff ni sisi wenyewe ndio tunajiharibia nchi. If all offices are occupied by Kalenjin and they deliver, nikienda immigration, niki-apply passport, niipate, I'm not going to complain because I want my taxes to work for me irrespective of who the person in the office is. Personally, originally ni Mkikuyu, and I don't see the benefit of having 3 presidents in power. Hospitali ya Kerugoya haifanyi kazi. Hospitali different, barabara hazijatengenezwa despite having a Kikuyu president. But problem ni nini? Problem ni sisi wenyewe. I had the doctor talk, that doctor from Sijui which hospital, and he said that Chief Shah is failing. But ukifikiria, in reality, these doctors and nurses who are us, who are not even Ruto huko juu. Mwanamke amekuja hospitali kuzaa, hana pesa, Chief Shah haifanyi. But who sends that person away? Is it Ruto? Is it Gachagua? Is it Uhuru? Until we look internally, tutaendelea kukuwa na excuses za ukabila. Ukabila is just employed by the people in upper class kutuganisha so that they can be able to get the seat. But the real problem is us. If we don't condemn what is really happening kwa ground, hakuna mahali tunaenda. Juu hata sahi Morara ukikuwa president, and we are supporting you, and the people within your government are not working. The civil servants ni sisi ndio ma civil servants. We are the doctors, we are the nurses, we are the teachers, we are the engineers. Hata barabara, we cannot audit barabara venye imetengenezwa. Kama imetengenezwa vizuri tunalipa, we double. For instance, Morara can recover the money of corruption very easily. Somebody in an office somewhere signed off the purchase order. Somebody signed kalamu ya were valued at 20 shillings or 50 shillings. Akainunua kalamu moja at 100,000. Somebody ameka sahihi na mwingine akaeka check. We have people who can be arrested, but for as long as hakuna mapenzi ya kutaka kubadilisha the system inside, from inside, tribalism ni kidonda tu iko juu. It's just one of the symptoms, but the biggest problem ni sisi wenyewe kwa wenyewe kama Mkenya. Ati saa hii nikitaka usaidizi, mimi mwenyewe tu, I take my sweet time. I know I'm next. Yeah, I'm supposed to be going to another country. I need a passport. 1 month to travel, ninakimbia immigration. We create our own problems. I'm going to give you an example. I live in the US, and probably I'm talking from a point of privilege where services are done, tunasavio, everything works. Regardless, after Trump akiwa president, it's going to continue working. Biden now a president, everything works. And people are so patriotic. I cannot go to an office and bribe somebody for something. Nothing. That person who's seated behind the desk will report me for attempting to bribe them. Until we become patriotic enough to demand proper services from the people we employ with our taxpayer money, because wale watoto wenye wako kwa serikali, they get their money from us. When we pay the tax, wanatoa mshahara yao kwa pesa yetu. If we don't get accountability, tutaendelea na kudanganyana. Problem ni ukabila, but problem ni sisi wenyewe, sisi kwa sisi. Ati hatuwezi kusaidia mtu kwa sababu amekuja hospitali. No, it's not a computer that is doing this. Sio Mjaluo ananifukuza Kerugoya Hospital, ni Mkikuyu mwenzangu ananifukuza Kerugoya Hospital. Ndio tutaanza kusema we like to protect ourselves on issue ya ukabila. We hide behind ukabila, yet it is not really ukabila. Shida ni sisi wenyewe. Until we take that ukabila thing away from us and start concentrating on things like what Morara is doing, going round to the ground, ameenda Kwale. Those people are taxpayers like any other person. But ukiangalia hospitali dilapidated to the ground, as in I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And then it has been that way for the last 6 years. I do not like this regime. I do not like anything about it. I do not like even the past regimes either. But Morara uko na support yetu 100% with what you're doing. But tribalism is there, yes. But when you put tribalism as hapo mbele, some people get defensive. It's a mechanism to defend the wrongs that we are doing. apportion the blame to something else so that we don't see what the problem really kwa ground iko. I don't have much to say, ni hiyo tu ndio nilikuwa nasema. Asante.
All right, so before she goes, Moshemi said, Jerry Moshemi from the US said, I'm going to disagree with Morara. Then when she went ahead to speak, she ended up agreeing with me.
Yes,
I was
agree
waiting
with
for
you.
her to disagree. Then she agreed on everything I've been saying because, Jerry, whatever you've just said is what I've been saying. I've been saying this, and let me say it in different, I'll just say the same thing you've said, but in different words. I will say this. Kama wewe ni muuza maziwa na unawekanga maji kwa maziwa ili ikue mingi, if you're made an MCA, you will steal more than Ruto. Kama wewe ni makanga wa matatu na unapewa thao, una insist umenipea 200 because you don't want to return change. Ukipewa kazi utakuwa mwizi kuliko William Ruto. Kama wewe ni cousin ya Mushemi in the US na amekutumia pesa umnunulie shamba ama nyumba, ama wewe ni sister na umeiba hiyo pesa, if given a chance, wewe utaiba SGR na utaiba super highway and everything else. So then bad behavior begins with us. We have to clean up our society before we even blame the leaders. Yes.
Morara, it is a cultural thing. Ati mtu anaweza enda kwa ofisi asubuhi aweke koti and then steps out of the office and goes and does other things on payroll. You know, it is very, very annoying. And people take it, wanafunika, wanasema ni kwa sababu ni kabila fulani, ndio kwa sababu hao ndio wameandikwa kwa ofisi. Sio kabila, huo ni mtu. Whoever signs an LPO is an individual. Whoever provides services is an individual. The policies are there. If they really work the way they're supposed to work, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Pole, nimekuinterrupt, ama?
No, I've just agreed with you. It's okay. Thank you.
Yes, it is the individual. And yes, Morara, you can recover the money. It can be recovered. It can be recovered 100%. And if we can just focus and not look at tribe, where I come from, because that is a given. Where I come from, it's my number one. I know mimi ni Mkikuyu number one. But ni Ukikuyu inaiba ama ni mimi. Until we focus, until we move from that way of thinking, I can tell you for sure, hatutabadilika. Hatutabadilika. And Kikuyus for sure, they're emotional voters. And as right now, mi wale nimeongea na, wanasema ata hatutaki kitu yoyote. We have had 3. We have had 3 presidents and nothing is happening. Let somebody else take it. Anybody else achukue hiyo kitu. Hatuitaki. Hitakikani. If you go to the ground, that is all they are saying. If I talk to my people at home, that is what they are telling me. Hatutaki kiti. Morara apewe ama mtu mwingine apewe, tuone kama tutabadilisha system. It's a systemic problem and it is created purposely to keep people poor and to keep people begging forever. If you beg, nikupatia 500 sahi, utanipatia kura. I mean, ask yourself, 1 million shillings, mshahara ya 1 million. Why do people take loan? Ndio ende akapate mshahara tu ya 1 million. Anakupatia 500, anaspend 500. It's because they're going to get more from contract. Why should a Kalamu? I always give example like Kalamu. Kalamu nikienda supermarket that I can buy for 100 shillings. Government buys it at 1,000. Nikiona kinasudi wakipanda na magunia ya pesa, ninashindwa hizi pesa zinatoka wapi? Kuna watu wako hospitali. I recently lost an in-law because of this shift shafting nonsense. Ati haezi tibiwa mpaka alipe pesa in advance. I mean, it's sad. Very, very sad. that we are basing our arguments on other things. Morara, just keep doing what you're doing. You're vampire. Sina hata ya kusema, just keep doing what you're doing and sisi tutaendelea na kukusupport 100%. We love your call. That is it. Niachie watu wengine waongee. Asante.
Asante Moshemi. Very true. What we are saying here is, and which we really agree with you, is the problem is not macro. It does not start at the door. It starts in the house. So before we get out of the door, then we have to correct the paradigm thought, the individualistic paradigm. Get to our people, tell them this is how the politicians want to manipulate our thought processes. And I think that is that's what my brother Morara is doing by educating the masses, telling them that if you think this person who comes from your tribe loves you, then you can imagine how much they are stealing from you to just make themselves better at the cost of your suffering. So we want our people to be educated, to know, to be sensitized. Afadhali uibiwe ukijua inaibwa kushinda uibiwe na ujui inaibwa na unapigia makofi ule mwizi kwa maana tu haujui anakuibia. So the essence of these forums are to just sensitize. It's all of us joining hands together. I've read in the comment box and in the comments and someone is saying it's about us joining hands. And indeed, how can we do it better by joining hands? We can do it better by sensitizing those ones who do not know. Let the information reach them. They may not know unless they are informed that they know. The beauty of this country is in our diversity. That is why a person will come from the US to come and see a Maasai jump with their speaker, their spears, and see the cultures of the Maasai people. That is why a person will want to travel to Nyanza and enjoy fish from the Luo community, or go to Western Kenya and eat ugali and mrenda from the Luya community. The beauty is in our diversity. What have the politicians done to us? They have turned the diversity to be the poison, to be the chalice. Actually, they have created, they have looked at our beauty and decided to misuse it, to corrupt the beautiful thing that God gave this country, and that is in our diversity of our culture and of our tribe. And that is why this space is going on. We are saying no to any politician who will divide us basing on our tribal origin. Hata akuje through the podium ya kanisa, ama akuje through messages za local messages and local forums. Some are using chiefs. The fact of the matter is our tribes are our unifying factor. Our cultures are what makes Kenya to be a beautiful country. But politicians will not change this narrative to favor them, and that is why we are here. Let me welcome Pareno Solonka. Take the mic.
Oh, hi everyone.
Hi.
Yeah. So first of all, Morara, thank you for the work that you've done. It's not easy. Personally, I'll admit that I don't have the courage to do what you do, and keep up. And thank you for what you're doing. Now, on today's topic, Ruto's tribal game plan, we really need to avoid a situation whereby Ruto turns, or politicians turn the 2027 elections, or the conversation you're having currently, into tribal. The fact of the matter is, for long, people have been talking about, it's been about issues, about accountability, about corruption, about inefficiency, about impunity. Then all of a sudden, the conversation is shifting into being tribal. I know I'm seeing several people, like I'm seeing some few tweets here telling Morara to go to Kisii, go lecture people in Kisii while he's speaking the truth. surely how will we tutatoka as a block tukiendelea if we go on with that mentality? We really need to stop, because trust you me, Ruto wants this election to be tribal. He wants the conversation to shift from being about issues to being tribal, because that is his path to success, and that is how he will win that thing in the morning. Because I mean, even if Mount Kenya unites to the last person and they added Okambani votes to the last person, they have no path to victory if it goes tribal. Ruto already has Raila, so that means he'll have Western, he'll have Nyanza, he'll have Rift Valley. He's actually waiting for that time or that opportunity where the moment it shifts or the moment it becomes tribal, utaona amerudi sasa kwa ile prado yake, amerudi kwa sunroof. He will incite Kenyans against Central Kenya. And once that incitement imeingia, asubuhi 2027, he'll take that election. Because people, I've been wondering, there's a problem somewhere, because if you see the way the government is moving, it's like they don't care. People are complaining, people are making noise, there are court cases every day. But the way these guys are moving, it's like they have an ace card up their sleeve. They're not afraid. Like there's something they know that we don't know. It's like they know 2020 hata mpige kelele aje 2027 will still be in government. I was like, why? And then it started making sense a few days ago, yesterday and today, because they are tribal cocoons, and we need to avoid that thing, because the moment we shift the conversation from issues that are affecting Kenyans, that is how we will have lost this fight. We need to avoid continue pushing the way we pushed. As Morara said in his videos today, the Gen Zs did not die for the conversation to shift and for the conversation to become tribal. People were not short for the conversation to move back to tribal lines. We need to avoid, and everyone who is in this space, go talk to your parents, go talk to your relative, talk to your friend. Whenever you're in a matatu, anywhere you are, inject them. Let the conversation remain issue-based. If it goes tribal with the way Ruto is aligning himself, akona Northeastern, akona Coast, akona Nyanza, akona nini, if we shift the conversation, ni hivyo, the guy will take this thing 2027 asubuhi na mapema. It will even be easier to rig that election, because that election will be very close. An election that is issue-based to rig. If people from Central want to reject Ruto, let them reject Ruto as Kenyans, not as people from Mount Kenya. Let them reject Ruto as Kenyans. That is the only way we will win. We should avoid tribal politics, and that's Ruto's tribal game plan. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Areno. Indeed, what we don't need to inherit from our parents is the politics of tribalism. Anybody can be given chance. There are people who come from minority tribes and they can lead. There are people who can come from majority tribes and they can lead. All we just need to do as a country is identify who the leader is, as long as they are branded Kenyan, and then we follow. And if you see on the politics of the day how everything is aligning itself, it's just properly to appease regions. I have appeased this region because I'll give you a PS, or I appease this region because the PS is not appointed on meritocracy. Anachukua mtu mwenye Ruto amechukua watu wenye hawajui kazi, anawaweka pale just because they are affiliated to a tribe, with his mind and eyes looking at 2027, and that is killing the systems of our country. And you know why we fight for this? We fight for this for posterity. We fight for this for in the view of foresight. We don't only live in this country. We want to make this country better for 100 years to come, so that when a child, our great grandchildren will live in this land 100 years to come, may they enjoy the fight towards the freedom that they will be enjoying 100 years. This is akin to the liberation, fighting against the slavery which is being imposed to us and imposed to our back by the government, by trying to select or align themselves in a tribal way. Mwangi, Maina Mwangi, you can take the microphone.
Can I, because my battery is running low, I'm now
outside house. Abu, okay, go yeah. Abu, and then Mwangi will
follow. Okay, thank you. First of all, I'm so excited to have Morara Kebaso on the panel. That's a very exciting thing for me personally. I've seen him growing in his this political career, and he's been an inspiration to all of us. And we wish well, inshallah. May Allah give you ability to succeed on whatever you're up to. And if you are a blessing to us, may you succeed. And I wish you all the best. Second thing, respecting the topic, it's important that we maintain harmony within the country. First of all, family unity. We've seen what's happened in the US. The Trump has appealed to communities, what they usually needs, and he has succeeded. I don't underestimate your ability where you have reached. Don't ever underestimate. And as long and the message is getting around, and people are recognizing you to have that ability. Please, I want you to continue with whatever you're doing. Harmony of the community is very important. Family values are very important. We don't want that. What we are facing that now in the West, we don't want it to come back to our home countries, where we have our own cultural, we have our own strong belief in God, and we have our own strong belief in family values. These things I want you to put in your banner from now on and whenever you continue. Second thing which I had a glitch about you was that when you chose your team, I could haven't seen names which we recognize or individuals that we recognize. It has in the beginning, but I wish you well too, and I want to see you more participating with other emerging leaders in the field, and that's the only point I want. And God bless and thank you for panel. I hope to see you as our president. I pray, inshallah, to see that happening. And I wish you all the best, guys. Keep the fight going. This is not the end. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. Let's see where it takes us to. Inshallah. Take care. Thank you for the opportunity of giving me in the platform. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Abu. Thank you for the kind words towards our brother Morara, and even a word extending encouragement to him. It's a word that goes very far. This is utter sacrifice, utter commitment. It's very invaluable. It goes beyond money. It's absolute self-sacrifice, and we really appreciate for the kind words that I can see even on the chat that you're extending towards him, and we really appreciate. It's very important. It's more important than any other thing by just showing that showing gratitude and pushing him to go further. Mwangi, what do you have to say about Ruto's tribal game plan?
Thank you. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, you are. Go on.
Yes, I want to believe and first begin by commending the organizers of this platform today. Tribalism is one of the very thorny and serious issues affecting us as a country. However, I think it should always dawn to anyone who is young, who is keenly following on what is happening in this movement. It doesn't matter which caucus you are, but anyone who had the feeling that this country needs to change from 25th of June there is something that happened, and some of us were never known. Majority of the people in this platform were never known. We never had an opportunity to meet, interact, and talk. But one thing brought Kenyans together, young to begin with. They appeared like they were sick or drunk or insane, but there was something. That things in this country have not been going on well. And tribalism did not begin today. Neither should we expect that to end today. And I am not saying, and I'm not advocating for tribalism. And I'm not giving a discouragement. But there are always two sides of the story. In the agenda that is being propagated for tribalism, I come from Mount Kenya. I work and live there. I am in charge of several counties. And of course, I have been going around a lot with a lot of interest. And also there is a lot of things I do on the ground in terms of mobilization and all that. And one of the things that maybe is going to surprise many, in the next generation or lot of leadership in Mount Kenya, I will talk like that because that is where I live and work. So I probably understand a lot of things that are happening there. A lot of leaders that will be elected in Mount Kenya, one, somebody said we vote as a result of emotions. A lot of leaders who will be elected are going to be leaders to punish the UDA Kenya Kwanza regime that we elected. And whatever Ruto does with his tribal card, the fate of the elected members of parliament in Mount Kenya, the 60 of them, it is sealed. You have time to debate about that, but it is sealed. And if we want to have an opportunity, if there is a region that has an opportunity to really rise above tribalism, is Mount Kenya. And it is actually the place where you will find this time round a lot of leaders elected who necessarily don't come from some of the tribes, or who don't even come from their areas from the areas they are born. And that is informed by a view and a feedback, because I deal with groups in several counties. So majority of the people we are tired. And so even whatever happened in Embu, it was not an appreciation for Uhuru and Gachagua. I think we need to interpret things correctly. It was an affirmation to Ruto that Mount Kenya has parted way with him. They would not have celebrated Ruto. I have seen a lot of people commenting that today Ruto is being celebrated in Nairobi, and they are wondering, kwani nyinyi hamuoni? That would not happen and will not happen anytime soon in Mount Kenya. because people have parted ways with him. And so for this movement of change that began in 2020, on June 25th, what are we supposed to be doing? I think we are supposed to see the opportunity we have. That in this space of change and transition to new leadership, Morara, I beseech you, have men of dignity positioned in Mount Kenya if we want to fight tribalism. People who don't believe in tribalism, because the current lot of leadership, from the president coming down to the members of parliament in Mount Kenya, they are very tribal, yes. And the time has come for them to be punished by their electorate. Hawatafukuzwa na watu wa Nyanza, watafukuzwa na watu wa Mount Kenya. So in Mount Kenya, and that's why I've said I will talk about where I belong. On my part as David, I am positioning myself. I am also talking to some other young people of integrity I know, and we are trying to align ourselves into the leadership and take opportunity and take advantage of the crisis, because it is in crisis that leaders are born. So let us not complain a lot with the crisis that is there. Let us see the opportunity. And because people will be chased away in Mount Kenya, let us have people we know of dignity vying for positions. Can you imagine a situation where 30 of the probably people who are going to be elected in Mount Kenya are people who don't care about about tribe? Probably like me. Me, I don't care whatever happens. What I know is that a revolution started and this country was born afresh on 25th of June. That's a conviction I have in my heart. And therefore, anything else I am doing, I don't care. And so even as I see people clapping for Gachagua and Uhuru, to me, I am not seeing Uhuru and Gachagua being clapped for. I am seeing an opportunity for me as a young leader to arise, align myself, and be elected in this wave where there is no going to be that kind of sycophancy in Mount Kenya. People will elect people of issues or out of issues and agenda. So let us look ahead. As Ruto is playing the card, let us hope that in Mount Kenya, the wave of chasing the current lot of rotten leaders continues the way it is, so that it creates an opportunity for young and men of integrity in leadership. Now, my question and my concern is, are other people in the areas that I am not going to vote ready for that change? And so let us concentrate in our diverse areas and see the opportunity that arises. I am wondering whether in Kapsaret there is going to be a young man who is not tribal, ready to vie, who is understanding the dynamics of how the ground works in Kapsaret, and replace Sudi in this wave of change. So for me, that is what matters. The other diversity I have about tribalism, in as much as Ruto is propagating it, I will speak very harsh words and say the behavior that the president is having today is a behavior of a dying man. If you ever visit a hospital, a patient who is about to die, when you serve them food and porridge, they eat so well that day. But the following day or after 2 days, they die. Their level of appetite at a certain time. And whenever you see somebody with the kind of appetite for bad things the way the president is having, it takes a sober person to see that the president is actually portraying a fallen at a very high speed regime. And I don't know whether he knows. And even if he doesn't know, I'm not his advisor. But he is on a falling trajectory. And he does not have a way to rise back. The kind of greed and appetite and crisis he's causing, all that in every area, and behaving deaf. That is what a person who is about to die behaves. And so he may win the election, I don't know. But what are we doing so that to stop this kind of tribalism? By making sure we fill our parliament with men and women of integrity. Now, on my walk in the ground, I have realized something. That very many elderly people are telling us, nyinyi Gen Z mlituonyesha mko na uwezo wa kuongoza. Ile mwelekeo mtatupea, sisi tutawafuata. But instead of us building on what the Kenyan people, we have shown them we are capable of doing, I find ourselves diverting to other things. I wish we could retain the focus and show we have taken up. Let Ruto take up tribalism, let us take up another thing. We should not play his cards. Consistency is the game. Let us be consistent, like what Jesus was doing. For those who are probably Christian can relate to that. Jesus' way was, I don't need the elderly who are known and the Pharisees and the Sadducees and all those leaders. I am going to work with the 12. And they are the ones who carried the baton. And they made a lot of progress and they converted very many people. And so for us, let us not be hopeless. Issues of tribe can come to an end if we have people standing and are able to qualify for election positions and are elected people of goodwill. Because tribalism will not end until there is goodwill to deal with it. And Ruto doesn't have the goodwill. Neither are the elected members of parliament or whoever. The kind of leadership we have, maybe Omtata alone. That's my opinion. So we need to have people of goodwill. And if we elect them, it is easier to fight corruption in the long run. But in the short run, we see the opportunity that stands on our way so that we are able to have those positions of influence and influence this country, the direction we know. Shockingly, let me tell us, I am a good reader of the Bible. There are people who are elected kings when they were 8 years old and they led the nation into the way of the Lord. Achana na Ruto na hivyo anajifanya. An 8-year-old Josiah led the kingdom of Israel into the right way. So it doesn't mean that age is what gives people experience to lead. You can have the age and not have the leadership. So let us see what is lacking in this country. Let us not see what is the problem and capitalize on what is lacking. However, we would also need to position ourselves in a strategic way so that in this crisis, the leaders who will stand, they are people who can be able to command influence in a certain way. And we will fight those tribalism and even corruption. Finally, I feel I have talked too much. The other thing that propagates tribalism in this country is the political parties. I am yet to see a young man who is very strong in this wave and tell us, I want to vie in Luo Nyanza. with a party that is not ODM and work out on the ground modalities and bring us a win for a member of parliament position or an MCA position without an ODM ticket. ODM philosophy and the way they do their things, or even the way we have seen UDA and other political parties, they worship the party, the political party leaders. And in as much as there are political laws, our political parties propagate tribes. And so as we plan to end tribalism, in 2027 as people vie, can we have young people vying with other political parties other than the dominant political parties, so that we define ourselves tribeless by even having, like myself, maybe I declare here because probably nobody knows, I will be a member of parliament in one of the constituencies in Meru, and I am a Kikuyu. And it is because there is something I am doing on the ground, and I can tell you, the party I'm intending to use is not local in Meru, and I cannot, because I don't want to be called by other leaders and I'm told, you know, tutafanya hivi, kijana. I don't want. So, okay, I come to the close by saying, let us fight and fashion our way without concentrating on what others are doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mwangi. That is for the long comments. Let me welcome my brother Afro Mambo.
Hi, Mr. Morara. I hope all is good, and thank you so much for this opportunity. Mine is just to say that let's get realistic and speak what's on the ground and look at the history of tribalism. I can see from the dashboard here, it's Ruto's tribal game plan. So let's start from where do we come from? You know, so as we all know, Kenya has a history of ethnic divisions and exclusion in government positions. People have been hired based on ethnicity, tribe, party, or family ties, which has been a challenge since the Kenyatta times. So we all know that the Constitution has laid the foundation for this. If you look at Article 232 stating that the public service should be representative of all communities in Kenya, and Article 10 also obligates public institutions to promote inclusiveness, non-discrimination, and protection of vulnerable and marginalized groups. So if you just going by those two, the Constitution, this is not happening. That is where we are getting it wrong. If, for instance, if you look at the public service appointments on the paper, a lot of it is based on ethnicity and does not confer to the Constitution of Kenya and Article 232 and Article 10. Yet, people are very blind to this. You know, we keep going on and assuming that as long as your people voted for you, you have the right to appoint your own people. No one even, this is where we are. This is the situation on the ground. Apart from that, I wanted to talk about tribalism in Kenya based on education. Based also due to the fact that you do a lot of civic education. According to the statistics from last year, so Kikuyu as a tribe tops the list of the most educated tribes in Kenya. There are over 100 like Kikuyu professors and more than 5,000 with PhD. Kalenjin comes second, you know. So going by that fact, it will be an assumption that these tribes are elite in terms of civic education. They know exactly what happens if they vote for non-issues, if they vote along this thing of payback, you know, sentimental, I call it sentimental voting, yet they still go ahead and do the same. This has happened across board, you know. So sometimes my fear, Morara, is as much as you're doing civic education, the most learned people always fall in this trap not to make us lose hope. We just hope that this time round, things will get better. That is the only thing we can hope for now. If you remember, one time we used to have Magufuli. So Magufuli once said, mambo yote Kenya ni excellent, ila jambo moja tu. Najua haya maneno yatawachoma moyo kidogo, lakini lazima niwaambie, mumalize ukabila. Hiyo ikiisha, Kenya is the best country. If I know most of you remember this. Magufuli said, the late, he said this. So if you look at this movement of Gen Z, we've been a part of it, and I've seen a lot of people drop as time goes by. We've made traitors. We have also separated the goats from the boys from men, if you like it. We have seen people who've been paid by Ruto, and we all know that Ruto has suspended constitution and is willing to do anything possible to buy out the weaklings. People like Mark Samuel would have gone to the other party. I'm sorry to name the names, but this is a fact. We all started here to the fact that you are supposed to be tribeless, fearless, all these things. But one by one, we are getting exposed, especially on the tribal thing. We all remember what happened during the Uhuru regime. We are all here not because of Ruto per se. Of course, Ruto was part of the previous regime, but we cannot entirely blame him for what's happening now. This started way back to Kibaki, but for the sake of it, let's start from Uhuru. How many scandals were there? I remember the saddest day of my life during Uhuru regime that I still remember when Uhuru came out and said, wanaiba 2 billion every day, mnataka nifanye nini? That was the president speaking. And I was so depressed today and yesterday when I saw people in Embu forgetting all that happened in Rivayala, all these things that Uhuru did, and they are back again to their default settings, and they are still advocating for the lesser evil. Like, oh yes, we have two devils, but let's go with the one that we know, So as if that is not enough, as much as you will be injecting more and more civic education, what's the probability of them shunning away from sentimental voting? This is a tribal thing. It's all going back to the ground. I've seen how they have welcomed Uhuru. Everyone has forgotten everything they did. This is the fear. The same thing is happening in Nyanza. After going through all those atrocities and everything that happened, they all go back to their default settings. I pray and wish that as Gen Z, we should be looking forward to young leadership. But also remember, young Gen Z leaders does not amount to non-tribalism. I've seen a lot of young leaders in Gen Z movement, especially in the timeline of X, always tribal and always trying to magnify and have sympathy for people like Gachagua, people who are in the administration. Immediately you start having sympathy for the regime because they come from your area. I mean, that is so sad. As a Gen Z, I will expect that from the millennials, from our grandmothers, from our mothers, but not from a Gen Z. So to say that Gen Z are not tribal per se is a misinformation. Some of them are super tribal, and they will always resort back to the default settings when they go back home and ask their parents, who do we vote for? That is happening, and that is the reality, Morara. And I was so happy when you highlighted the fact that Uhuru should not be made like a god. He had his part in all these problems that we have. And Nyakundi has been saying the same. So let's wake up, let's be realistic. And before I land, Morara, I would like you to talk more about the goals of the movement, because we have less than 3 years. It may look like little, but if we don't keep track of goals, then I think a lot of people will sway along the way. What I'm talking about is, can we come up with the specific goals? and what we have achieved, in terms of SMART goals. Let's look at things that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound as we move forward. We have seen all your dossiers and documentaries, which are, that is the reason why people like us in the diaspora, that is what we see, that's what people see, and no one is taking responsibility. I'm sure this makes you angry. I know this makes you angry because people take it like a movie, like just anything else, like reality. I mean, nothing is happening. Even I heard someone say that Morara will just talk and expose all this, but nothing is happening. No one has been held accountable, Morara. So my question also is, Morara, how does that make you feel? Do you think that Kenyans have not suffered enough for them to show up? What do you think? Because sometimes I tend to think that hatujafikiwa watu, the middle class is a weak link. As long as they can afford some bread and some 2 meals a day, they feel they're okay. I honestly feel that watu wakifinywa vizuri na Ruto, especially in tax, watu watatokea. People hawajafikiwa. Sometimes I feel like this is my own personal opinion. Kwa sababu, honestly speaking, look at what's happening. Look at NHIF cash that was stolen. Hospitals are owed by NHIF. Then they cover that up and bring a new thing that is not working. And Kenyans are not angry enough. We are like that tick that is sucking a cow, but we have no idea the cow is dead. It's going to take some time for some people to realize that the cow is dead. When you realize there is no more blood from the cow and you're the tick. So that's my landing for now. And thank you once again for this space and all the listeners, and God bless.
Thank you, Afromambo. Just to respond to this is Darwin talking, Dr. Darwin. Morara is having some little issue about his voice, but he's bringing it on back.
Morara is available now.
He's available now. Morara, you can respond to Afromambo.
He first asked me how I feel. Bana, I feel angry. Guy. I feel very angry. In fact, many times I have to be controlled. I have to be controlled by my family members. To be controlled by my team members. Because I do this thing paka nasikia sasa nimekuwa depressed mimi mwenyewe. It's like walking in a mortuary and seeing dead bodies. You never get used to it. It traumatizes me every day. And then now what annoys me more is to see people cheering and clapping for the same people who have put them in that situation. Sasa nashindwangwa ni uchawi gani hawa watu wanatumia for sure. But I've come to understand that Kenyans have been through a lot and they have come a long way in terms of, being misused and used. So Kenyans are like those people who are in a narcissistic relationship. They are like that girlfriend who is in a relationship where she's being cheated on and she's saying, what if I'm the one making him cheat? Yeah, so that's the situation Kenyans are in. They are in the Stockholm syndrome where unaonea huruma yule ambaye anakutesa. What do we need to do about it? My short answer to it is civic education, because I keep saying this, but some people keep disagreeing with me that removing Ruto is not the solution right now. The solution is civic education. Why? Because you remove Ruto right now, even if you put, say, a council, a transitional council. The transitional council can only have a term of maybe 3 months or 6 months. After that, we are a democracy. We must have an election. When we have the election, and these are the same Kenyan electorate that are going to vote in that election, you can remove Ruto and have Gachagua as your president. You can remove Ruto and have Waititu. I mean, you can have the most ridiculous, you can have Didmas Baraza for sure, because Kenyans vote for mediocrity. And then they celebrate it, and then they clap and cheer for it. So we must do very serious civic education. We who are in the know must go to the ground and educate people in the ground kwamba mumebeba ufala for too long, tafadhali amkeni. Yeah, and that's why you saw when I did my video today about Mount Kenya and Uhuru, I was so annoyed because this is the same guy who stole money for laptops, stole money for SGR,
came and brought the same money. SGR built here an expressway which you are paying for, where money is going to his pocket. He took money and built his banks and his businesses. This guy stole so much money. He is even mentioned in Pandora Papers. He stole Eurobond. He registered, a bank abroad and stole $2 billion from the Republic of Kenya. This guy is a thief par excellence. That is why when Ruto came to power, Ruto didn't follow up on what Uhuru stole because they were stealing together. When the Gen Z happened, you hear Raila saying, ati rafiki yangu Uhuru alinipigia simu. Akaniambia tafuta Ruto muongee na yeye. Why? Why would Uhuru call Raila to tell him aenda ashikane na Ruto? Because they are one dynasty. Kenyans, we are the food. We are on the menu, not on the table. We are the ones to be eaten. So they reached a point and said, we should stop fighting, otherwise our food will run away. So when I see Mount Kenya people cheering Uhuru like a hero, I'm like, what the hell? This is the same guy I want to arrest. If I'm given an opportunity to be a president in Kenya, this guy should return every single penny. Kenya, I may earn, if it is his company, let's say Brookhouse International School or Brookside, if he earned his money well, sina mambo nayo. Lakini yenye imeibwa, hiyo inarudi. Even land, which he didn't buy, he grabbed. Hiyo inarudi yote. In fact, we should not even finance our budget using our taxes. The 5 years, we should finance it using proceeds of corruption. That should finance our budget. Sasa nashindwa, basi sasa mbona mnichoche hapa ati Morara wewe simama tutakupigia kura. Nisimame mnipigie kura nikishika Uhuru ama nikishika Ruto mseme ameshika mtu wa kabila yetu. Sasa haja gani? Si afadhali muachane na mimi nipumzike, because me I don't want to be useless. I don't want to go to a seat and just, be there doing nothing. I want to go there and do things. I want to make stuff happen bana. I want heads to roll. Didmas Barasa kwa hapa anaturingia vile atakuwa governor wa Bungoma na ameiba pesa yetu paka amenunua helicopter. Sirisi ya MP hapa Waluke alikuwa anasema ati mtu akirecord video kwa Facebook kama WhatsApp akisema yeye ni mfisadi ati atampiga paka apitie kwa dirisha. Can you imagine a person ametuibia and he is that arrogant? He talks back to us in a condescending attitude. Just yesterday, not yesterday, but the day before yesterday, I came back from Kwale. Nimefika kwa airport, I meet Alfred Mutua. Then Alfred Mutua has the temerity, the confidence ya kuanza kunisomea. Can you imagine? I meet Alfred Mutua at the airport, a cabinet secretary ananisomea. Because I was with my wife and children, niliamua sitamjibu. Nikaingia kwa gari nikaenda. But I really had a lot to say. And I regretted not saying it. Kwa sababu huyu ni mtu ningesimama tu for 2 minutes, nimpashe tu very proper. Nimuulize wewe kwanza rudisha pesa ya Masi Stadium 50 million. Na urudishe pesa ya Kinyui Stadium 49 million. Na urudishe pesa ya Mavoko Stadium 50 million. Na urudishe 100 million ya kujenga sijui Governors Lodge in Matu. Yani ile mchezo inaendelea Kenya, mimi saa ingine nasikianga hao watu washikwe wote wawekwe jela. And we should not be joking with these people. Let's not tolerate mediocrity. Let's not tolerate mediocrity in leadership. Hii mambo ya kuniambia sijui nini, forgive them, leave them alone, they served their time, let them rest, let them retire peacefully. Uhuru alimaliza term yake, pesa yetu iko wapi? Gachagua has already been impeached. He can never run again. Leave him alone. Let him enjoy. Enjoy what? Yet the guy owes Kenyans 7 billion shillings. Yenye imeibiwa kwa different counties including Bungoma County. Anapumuzika kwa nini? Why? Si arudishe basi aenda akapumzike. So is this the same thing you Kenyans are planning to do with Ruto? Ruto tutamtoa kwa uongozi alafu mseme alifanya kazi yake, wacha mzee apumzike. Hakuna kitu ya kupumzika. Watu warudishe the 10,000 acres yenye Ruto wako na arudishe. Hiyo ya Taita Taveta. If he acquired it legally, it's okay. That is his land. The 6 aeroplanes Boeing 747 yamenunua. Aeleze vile alinunua, if it makes sense, sawa. But anything that has been stolen as proceeds of corruption, including Murkomen's belt, including Oscar Sudi's watch, Those things we must create a national auction, tuuzie wanamuziki, tuuzie musicians na wasanii wavae hizo watch za kina Oscar Sudi. Mtu asituibie na atuonyeshe kiburi. I mean, how can people be suffering in Kenya, dying in hospitals? Children are unable to go to school. Youths don't have opportunities. Watu wanahangaika, yani people are poor. Even people who made wealth during Kibaki's time, they've lost their wealth. Ulikuwa na ploti mbili, umeuza moja kupeleka mama hospitali. Ulikuwa na gari, zote zimekujiwa na bank. Na hiyo bank inakujia ni NCBA ya Uhuru. Na yeye ndiye alikuibia pesa akakufanya maskini. Wewe ni contractor, umefanya tenda ya serikali, pesa imetoka European Union ikaingia county government kama vile walifanya Kwale Kombani Market, wamekula hiyo pesa, hawakulipi. Sasa uko kotini, unalipa maloya, umekuwa na blood pressure, umenyang'anywa matrakta na bank. What is this? Why are we tolerating this? We should not tolerate hii mchezo, by the way. Now we have in our parliament, wash. Watu ati wash are members of parliament. We have criminals of international repute now in parliament. Fake gold dealers ati wako parliament. Fake money printers ati wako parliament. Mtu ana run brothel. Ana import wanawake kutoka Indonesia na Singapore. Ati sasa ako bunge. Anatengeneza sheria gani? Bana, ile mchezo inaendelea Kenya saa ingine inanifanya nasikia kuwa wazimu. Let us just say this. It has come a time when this joke must come to an end. This joke must come to an end for sure. We must finish this joke. Anybody mwenye alikula pesa ya CT scan machine, watu wanaenda hospitali, they cannot be imaged. Mtu mwenye alikula pesa ya x-ray, wenye walikula 3 billion yenye ilikuwa set aside ya MRI for all level 4 hospitals. Bana, chuma chenu kimotoni. And people should stop saying ati, oh, you know, Morara, you need the support of some of these people. These are the people that can finance you. Mimi afadhali niitwe conman na Wakenya. Nichangi wangu hiyo 100, 200, 500, 600, 1000, 2000. Kuliko nipewe pesa na Uhuru, then Uhuru owns me like his bitch. You know, I become a leader, then I'm bend overing for Uhuru.
Kweli kabisa. Hiyo Morara umedunga hapo ndipo. Maybe we can get few speakers before we just wind it up. Achani kindly take like 2 minutes, then we will have closing remarks from Morara. Let me start by inviting Nairobi Badman. You can unmute.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, I'm Morara. I've heard about you, yes, and there's some things that we should not tolerate. Yes, so guys, as much as we are talking about tribal game plan, yes, as much as we are talking about civic education, yes, what are we also doing about it? Yes, meaning, you know, all of us cannot sail in one boat. Yes, so means there's some people who will be on the track with us, and there's some people who won't be with us. So what are we planning? What are we planning to do with those who won't be with we won't be sailing with them on the right track with them? Yes, what are we planning to do with them? You know, for us, majority of us Gen Zs, yes, we can say that we are not tribal, but when it comes to a certain people, certain politicians from our community, we go back again and stand with them, just like one of us say here. We tunaanza kuonea huruma, yes, that these guys come from our area, then we empathize with them. So my people, what I want just to add, like, if we want to save ourselves, we should not wait for Jesus to save us for us, and we should also not just speak more. Let's take more of action than speaking. Yes, thank you very much. I just have that.
Thank you. Very true. We can no longer entertain politicians pity-patting on our doors. They only come to us and show to beg for mercy and beg for grace. In fact, they use local dialect or woo our emotions, they whip our emotions tribally. We are beyond that stage, and a country must emancipate itself. We must deliver. We must purge ourselves of the tribal rhetoric, and this has been continuously negatively been used by politicians against the development. We need to, when we talk about political freedom, when we talk about being a country which is delivered, and we are total democrats. If we are like the country of democracy, if democracy is enslaved in tribalism, then we are not free yet. We are still under slavery, and this is what we are saying tonight, that we cannot entertain politicians using us as a dorag when they need us, whip our emotions, coming in the name of nativity and tribal. I think we just don't need to entertain that, because it is the main reason why we cannot be progressive. We are making 10 steps ahead and 15 behind. So we are mark timing 10 years ago. 13 years ago, a day like today, we had Jayesh, who was pilfering NHIF through Meridian and clinic. Today, he has come back, rebranded himself in another way. Still same mark timing on the same trouble, same corruption dealings that over the years have stuck on our backs. Let me welcome Bernard Mzalendo to take over, and then we'll have one more speaker probably. Bernard, take up the mic. Bernard Mzalendo. Okay, as we wait, maybe we can have Sula Centric.
Hello.
Yes. Karibu.
Good evening. Asante sana. I thank you for the opportunity, and I like to encourage Morara what he's doing. We will support him behind fully. What normally kills Kenyans that there are three things that we normally have in terms of the country. It can't even develop. Number one is what have been said by others in terms of corruption, tribalism, and nepotism. These three things, you see, there's so many embezzlement of funds in terms of infrastructure development. People, the unemployed, everywhere is corruption is being done. Each and every day that you wake up, we can't do anything without connection in this country. So our leaders are not doing anything at all. They just want to take the money, put in their pockets and take it on their homes. They're just making themselves rich. But as Kenyans, we keep on suffering each and every day. That's why everything is just a mess in this country. We can't do anything. It's just unfinished kazi ambazo hazijamalizika, kazi pesa zimepeanwa kufanya mradi tofauti. Just like Morara said, wizi bila kazi. It's fine. Hi. Any Kenyans say just like that. Just want to push more.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Let me welcome Bernard. Okay. Kodeko, you can pick up the mic.
Shukran, Daktari. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon from wherever you are. All protocols observed. Shikamoko wazee. Hello to my peers. MK, you're doing a good job, and away from that, you're also doing a good job in bringing people together. Now, this is my submission on the matter of tribal game plan. Let me put this clear. The card that William Ruto is playing now is a very dangerous card. Tribalism and, let's say, ethnicity
it is something that is very dangerous when exploited in the wrong way for political gains,